I'm No Sweat, and Sam Miller's filming me this morning, or this at noon today, July 25th, 2020, and we're going through the process of what birds we're going to use on the South Africa race team this year. Hopefully, that there'll be a race. Come on in. This is one loft where I keep the birds that are going to fly, that I'm going to fly myself. Hopefully get them out to, wanted to take them to New Orleans this year. And I've got a lot more pigeons than this. But these are some we've got broke to this loft right now. And there's a couple in here that I might want to select for Africa. None of these birds have been trained. There's two or three in here that's just been put in here. They're not even settled. But if you can, Sam, walk up. This loft is one of my. They love to fly on this loft. We got air coming from 3 of the 4 sides. We just got an old cheap dowel trap, nothing fancy. And this is an old chicken house that's been converted. And the shelves came from Eastern Kentucky University, from the warehouse where I worked at. They were throwing the shelves away. We kept all kinds of stuff in there in the warehouse, stuff that dealt with mostly with plumbers. But I've looked at them here though. I was in here yesterday, and there's only a couple in here that I want to try to select from. I wanted you to look for just a minute. I don't want to use up too much time because we need all our time. But among this group of birds, just looking at them and thinking 400 miles, thinking Africa, thinking going through all the ordeal they got to go to get to that last race, I concentrated on 2 birds in here without picking them up, without knowing too much about their history. I like that red cock right there. He's just a slight bit rangy, but not really once he matures. I think he's got a real good balance. He's got a real good look about him without even putting my hands down on him. I like everything about him. And I like this little white fly hen here. And without knowing who she is, I think I know who she is. She's line bred back on the hardtail. That looks like they're little babies. They give me a lot of different colors. That looks good. I had one in the Hoosier last year that burned up at the end. But I'm going to catch those 2 birds and put in here, and then we'll add those in with all the others. But that's all the ones. The others, they're fantastic pigeons. There's nothing wrong with them. Not anything wrong with them. But I'm just thinking to myself, I mean, these are classic sions. You can't get more pure. Look at those reds right there. I mean, they might as well have came out of sions raw. They got the sion head. Except the one thing that I've got going on with these sions that nobody else does is that these are long distance true racing pigeons right now today. Not yesterday and 20 years ago and all that stuff. These are the birds that are flying against the very best birds in the world right now today. So I've taken the sions back to where they've got to be. They're not fat, showy pigeons anymore. They're still pretty good looking birds. Some of them beautiful pigeons, but they're very racy now. And you can see it just by looking at them. You can see these aren't show birds, and yet you can still see and you know, you're looking at young birds. It's going to get a long ways to go before they mature. We caught these 3 birds up there in the loft that we just now in the flying loft. 3 of them that I'm going to consider for Africa. There's a red hen, red cock, and a little mealy splash hot fly hen. And I'm bringing them in here, sitting on this grit that you just brought in, 10 bag or whatever. But anyways, I've collected this group of young birds here today. These are not from the designated Africa loft. These are from the other lofts throughout here that I'm going to take into consideration today. I may only use 1 or 2 or 3, maybe just 1 out of this whole group that will go to Africa. But these are birds that, for whatever reason, has caught my eye, particularly the last 2 weeks since I've been home from Florida. And I think they need to be evaluated. I don't like sending reds and silvers to Africa for a whole lot of reasons. But you'll see there's a few reds and silvers in there to be considered. I took same if you'll come over here and just stand right in here, you can see some. This will give you an idea of what a true tight family of pigeons of sions look like. I don't know of anybody in the world right now, and I mean in the whole world, that's got a family of sions that look like these. There's some variation in them. A couple are a little bit larger than the others, some of them a little bit smaller. Some of them have a little bit difference in the face, but they have, my friend Jim Isselhart said, one of the first things you look at on a pigeon, you look at its face. And that's very true. Jim's right about that. And when you're looking at a family of pigeons, that's what you look for. You start out with the face, and then everything else should be close to each other. But these are birds that are all out of all my really good pairs that I've put together this year. And I think 2020 is probably the best year I've ever had in breeding. It's very difficult to figure out what the best birds are at this stage. But you'll see one bird in here really is unusual out of all of them, and it's this bird, and I named him Ghost. And just walk out here. I don't have a bird I raised this year that has this kind of eye, and I'm not an eye sign man at all. But he does have a very odd pearl eye. And he's a medium small cock, and he's so perfectly, he's got that cork and light body. I don't even know I have him in my hand. He's got a good soft feather. He's got the cork body, the soft feather, tight vents, single tail, pearl eyes, real light pearl eye, and he goes straight back on my best pigeon that I've flown in the last 15 years, Hardcore, 600-mile young bird. And he looks a lot like Hardcore. He's got that, what Sam and I talked about, he's got that color in the wings that's real distinct on those particular pigeons that come down out of him. They have like a tan color that's up in the flights. On the red checks, reds, and the silvers and the mealies. You'll see that in the wings on a lot of, almost a gray, and it's a genetic trait that comes through. This pigeon, my wife said he was ugly as sin, but to me he was beautiful. He's very smart. I mean, he's exactly what I think you look for in an African bird. And if I'm going to send a bird over there that's not a blue bar, well, he's sure one of them to be considered. I call him Ghost because he looked like a ghost in eyes, and he's down out of a silver cock I call Seagull. And Seagull's down out of Hardcore, line bred to Hardcore. He's a dove, and so he's got the Hardcore blood in him. And I call his father Seagull, because he's built just like a seagull. He's got a pelagic bird's wing ratio to the body, those narrow wings, and that's one of the things that physically I look for a long distance bird, because pelagic birds fly for many hours. Some of them can fly for days. But he's just one bird. He's an ugly little old cockbird, that's all. But he's sure got to be considered. I don't know if he has the stamina to take to all the 2 quarantines and all that they have to go through in Africa. That's the only thing that I don't like about him. But he's one of the birds that I would heavily consider. I have a lot of luck with these birds. I have a lot of luck with small hens when I'm flying them back to my house. Back here, when they fly back to this loft, the small hens do very well. And the hens do very well in Africa. Last year, if I'm not mistaken, about 3/4 of the first birds that came in the top 20 were all hens. I may be wrong, I think that's right. This silver cock here is a wonderful pigeon. Again, closely related to that silver cock, but bred a completely different way. Lighter in color, but he wonderful body. He's a little stronger than the other cock was. Classic Sion, classic old racing type Sion, that wedge head. This is what the old Sions won their reputation as. Birds like this. This is what got the word Sion started all over the world, were birds of this quality. And you can see a certain smarts. This is a medium sized bird, not even hardly medium. He's almost slightly less than medium, and perfectly built. Very smart, and he's again got a sort of a lighter violet colored eyes. Not a thing wrong with the bird. So much for this group right now. I guess I could go through them kind of quick and just make a quick assessment of them. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this group because I already know in my mind I'm not going to be taking many birds out of this group. I wanted to look at them in comparison to each other. This little dull blue hen here is very sharp. Again, I don't like sending real small birds over. This is exactly the kind of bird that flies good for me. She's got those narrow flights. She's a tiny little pigeon. Little pigeon. Perfect tight vents. Little bitty hen. Classic, what I call racing scion face on her. Again, slight wedge on it. One of the things that I told myself this year that I was going to try to do in picking birds out for South Africa was to look for birds that were perfectly balanced. Birds that didn't stand too high on their legs, didn't stretch their neck, didn't have necks that stretched out to Texas, and had everything else going for them. This is that kind of bird. This bird has almost a perfect balance, and she's a more classic scion than most of those are. This is old line scion head. A lot of people say they can identify a scion, you know, real quick, and that's what they're looking for. They're just looking for this kind of face. Of course, again, this is a young hen. She's very nice. She's not as strong in the vent as those others are, but she's got a different kind of body, so it's a little fuller through the keel, the pectoral muscles, and yet it's firm and yet soft at the same time. More what you look for. See the balance on her? A lot of those birds don't have that. She's one of them that I would definitely. This bird's built better than she is. Tighter vents. Another single tail. A little more racy than showy. Had a nice balance. She was over in the corner, kind of crowded by the other birds. You can see this bird has a bit. That's a lot of pigeon right there. Hold on. We'll start eliminating them. What I'm looking for right now is a kind of body before I get into. I'm looking for a balance in the body before I get into anything else. I've got a lot of birds to go through. This bird does have that kind of body. It has that cork body, and it has a real nice wing on it. 6'4", 6'8". Just tell me it's one of these later hatch. Let me see what it's got standing. A little long. A little bit long. I've got to try to narrow it down to the very, very best of the best, in what my opinion is, as far as balance and everything goes. This bird is the best one so far. Let's see what her band number is. 6'6", 81, 6'6", 6'6", 473. This bird's a little long. That's not to say this bird couldn't win everything. It's just that that's not what I'm looking for. He's a little bit sharp in the keel too. He'll probably make a great breeder, great racer. There's nothing wrong with this bird. He's a fantastic pigeon. This bird's very similar to that pigeon. These are real late hatches. I'd say May hatches. These birds have never been in a cage before, so they're going to be a little bit nervous. I like the wing ratio, just looking at the way it comes back. Just leave him in there for a second. We're not going to have all day to do all this. I'm trying to get through it fairly quick. It's a beautiful pigeon here. That bird has a better balance than that bird does. That could turn out to be a small cock. Very close. These two birds are very close. Tight vents and the vents close to the key. I mean, it's got. I'm not even talking about all the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for a certain kind of narrow flight, but not a wide flight at all. I'm not big on the wide flights, but not super narrow, not real narrow. Everything. Bird has a good balance to it. I got so many pigeons with it. They just got to be in there perfect. This bird up here is by far the best one. This little hen. She's got, it's not just the looks. I'll go through them a lot more methodically when we get to the afterbirds. I'm not talking a lot right now. I'm sitting and looking. I'm looking for balance. That's all. Out of those first 20, 25 birds over there, I've narrowed it down to these 5. Hold on. And I think the one that I like the best, oddly enough, is the first one I picked up there and this one. This bird's a little open in the vent. Not bad though. Vent and keel come together good. It's got really wonderful feel to it. It's that cork body. And I believe the bird is going to fill out as it gets older. Very similar to the first bird I picked out. Probably be a cock. It's probably going to be a small, medium cock. If I take a bird out of there, it would be this one. And I love this pigeon, but I can't take them all. Right now, I'd like to get these down to 3. Really, really, really hard for me. I can see any one of these birds flying very well down the road. Anyways, we got it down to these 4 right now. But we got a lot of birds to go through. So we'll stop right now. I'm gonna take these others back up to the loft, get them out of here. This loft I call the South African candidate loft. Usually if there's a bird out of a special pair and it looks like it's gonna be a pretty good pigeon, I move it over to here. I don't even put it in the other lofts. And every bird in here, I think there's 2 white flights, 2 birds that have white flights, but all of them are blue bars. And they're all kin to the bird that finished 41st for me year before last and 88th, and then I had another bird last year that finished 91st. And these birds are all kin to that same bloodline. It's a Leroy Bloodline, which was a blue cock that Lou Curtis had imported from Paul Sion, and Charles Heisman, original pair, he got a cock out of that bird, a red check, and it was his original pair, 1104 and 1033, down out of. So about anything you've got from Heisman, you know, is going to have that blood in it. That blood proved to be fabulous throughout the United States for 20 years. California, Texas, New York, Kentucky, Florida, every place that blood flew long distance, it flew it consistently. This is like a playhouse for these babies. Got milk cartons in there. Daggone, you know, this looks like something a 7-year-old kid put together. That's about what I guess I am. But the birds love it. I try not to keep more than 50 birds on this, which is, I think, a saturation point for a good health here. I've got a wire floor and a complete entire wire wall on the front, so they get plenty of air here. And I think I've got about 3 or 4 roosts for every bird that's in there. So there's not much fighting going on. And some of these birds are December and January hatches, and some of them are already mature. This being July, some of them's already been mature enough to mate and lay eggs. And I've got 5 different pairs in here that have mated together and have laid eggs. I got one pair up there that's got one baby. I'm gonna have one baby. So if I send their birds to South Africa, I could actually send one of their babies, that baby their own, maybe to South Africa, and I could have, I don't know, it gets complicated this year. I could have grandchildren of the winter in South Africa. In flying in South Africa against their grandparents. Come on in this way, you get a, try to keep the camera up. Walk on in the loft. John threw an apple in there today to see if those pigeons would eat that apple. He may be over something. Just pan around and kind of lift the birds up. I have been back to Florida for 2 weeks, and I've spent 40 hours of those 2 weeks in this loft, in this one loft. I sat in here and studied these birds and watched them, picked them up, handled them, I stayed 8 hours inside here yesterday, trying to figure out. But this is going to be the crux. The heart of my team will come from here. And we couldn't have a team at all this year if it had been. I'm in North Carolina, named JW. I call him JW. So I'm going to start catching these birds, and then we'll start going through them. And this is probably going to be where most of the team's going to come from. We'll start. We're inside the South African candidate loft right now, and these are the South African candidates. I've raised about 100 of them this year. I think there's like 65 birds in here right now. You'll see they're very close and tight. I've got a couple in here that's a little on the large side. I've got a couple in here that's a little on the small side. We're going to be catching these birds and putting them in the crates and taking them over in the breeding room, going through them, handling them. And I'm going to be a lot more methodical about judging this group of birds than I was with the last group. But I think I kept 2 or 3 of those birds out of those 20-something birds over there. And I may not even keep those. So, to get me started, this is an exceptionally tame group of pigeons. You know, they're moving around. There's 2 people here in a confined area. It's going to be difficult trying to select the birds for after this year because you've got such an age range. And at this point in July 25th, I still don't even know that they're even going to have the race in Africa. 100% sure. But I'm hoping on it. You know, the #1 race in the world, you would think they would have it. They're going to have the Kentucky Derby, so why not have the race? And my objective this year is not to be 41st. My objective this year is to win the race. And I think I've got the birds right here to do it. Because I only have to beat Koopman in the Netherlands, I have to beat Klaas in Germany, and I have to beat Mike Gaines and a few others. But a little luck, maybe I can get it done. This is Charles Heitzman's very first training crate that he had when he was a boy, like in 1910 or something. I forget the exact date. I think he was born in 1897 or somewhere around then. I forget. But when he was like 12 years old, 11 years old, this was his crate. I had it and it tore all to pieces, so I made another one identical to it. I had a boy last year that helped me, and this is it. It was made exactly to scale, every single thing, same kind of wire, every little thing on it. This is exactly what Heitzman had, and I got Heitzman's tag off of his old crate. The other one was just falling apart, but this is what Charles Heitzman had when he was a boy. This is the original first training crate that Charles Heitzman had. And of course, it's special to me. I keep it in my house along with several other crates, kind of like furniture almost for me. It just has a special place in my heart. Yeah, I think about Heitzman all the time. And naturally, it's light. It's a great crate. You know, you just don't. We got one more crate of birds to go before we can start judging these birds. It's going to take us a while. Okay, go ahead, Jim. Well, we've been at it now for a little while. And this next series of judging, I'm actually going to be a whole lot more organized and formal about the way I go about selecting the birds. You know, out of that last group, I just wound up taking 2 hens and a cockbird. They're over here. I put them over there. And they're not 100% sure that we'll take them. They're late hatches. But I like basically the balance in the cork body. That was the 2 main things in the wing structure. I like that better. That was the reason these birds were selected. That's all. And they may not make it to the. Now we've brought up all the birds that were in the South Africa loft. They're in this breeding cage. They're in this breeding cage. And they're in this breeding cage. There's about 65 birds here in these 3 cages. And what I'm going to be looking for, I've judged all these birds twice before already, where I took out the entire day, like 10 hours, and went through, handled each bird and judged each bird on the criteria. And I want to show you the criteria that I use. These are some notes. I take notes constantly when I'm with the birds. But you can see the no sweat loss, the South African $1 Million Pigeon Race 2020 rating. I'll put down the color of the bird, the sex of the bird, then I'll give it a name later on. The date that it hatched, I looked that all up, who its parents were, and then I look for all these different characteristics buoyancy, that body we've been talking about, balance, proportions, and stance, back cover and back wing, the body, which involves the vent, keel, and muscles, what kind of feather the bird has, the wing ratio to the body, wing type, the feather, the contour, the steps of the wing, in the wing, eye position and alertness, the eye type it is, the personality and intelligence, quickness that the bird has, single tail, slit throat, and the head jerk. Those are all the things that I look for in a bird, and I mark them over here as to whether they're excellent, good, fair, or poor. And I mark them through here on every bird that I do. So it takes a long time to judge the birds. There's another one I did, excellent, good, fair, poor. You can see this one had a lot of excellence in it. The next one over here, this was straight excellence, which was good. And I've got at the house, I've got when I judge these birds. And we're going to be doing basically that same thing all over again today. And then I'll add up the 3 judging times that I've judged these birds. 4 times, but 2 real solid official times like we're doing now. And then I'll play a little bit of a hunch too on everything else. And that's how I'll come up with this team. So we'll start now. I'll show you how I'm going to go about it. I'm going to start in the back here with the first bird. You can see this is a breeding room and feed room in here. Those baskets all came from Charles Hyson, and I've got like 3 more of those baskets. And aluminum crates. These are other crates that I've gotten from Gary Stone, a lifelong friend of mine, and I've bought several baskets as well. I've got wicker baskets at the house and all that stuff. I keep grit in here in this particular feed. And we keep our feed in these blue barrels and wood to keep mice and rats from being able to get into it. We get snakes in here, we've had raccoons in here, we've had minks in here, you name it. Here we go with the first bird. I just grabbed the first bird that I picked up. I'm gonna go ahead and look at certain things on him right now. It's my initial impression of him. He's a little bit lacking in flesh tone in the keel. He could stand to have a little more in there. His keel's a little sharp because of that reason. But he has a wonderful feel to him. He's got a real nice light body, cork body. I love his wing structure. When I pull it out, just give it a quick look. He's got a what you call a dark violet eye. You can't get vent is almost perfect, real close together, and the vent comes back close to the keel. He has the right length of keel for the type of bird that he is, for the size of bird that he is. So all that's in really good balance. He has a good soft feather, a good high quality soft feather. Tail is pretty much a single tail. So when I go through here, I'll write down his band number, 2010. That tells me real quick 2010 that he's an early hatch. He was the 10th bird I hatched this year, so he's probably a December hatch. So I would put excellent on hatch. I don't know anything about his parents yet. Buoyancy was excellent. I don't know about his balance yet. I want to look at him. His back cover was, I haven't looked at it. Body, keel, and muscles were good. Feather was good. Ring ratio, I want to look at that again. He's got what I call pretty much kind of a straight wing. There's not a big step in it. I bring him down here to what I called that. Eye position and alertness was very good. But I wouldn't call it excellent. Eye type, I would probably put it excellent. Personality, I've watched this bird in the loft already. He's quick, single tail. Has an excellent slit throat. far as the head jerking. You know, I don't believe in any of these theories, but he jerks back good. But it doesn't hurt to know these things right here when you're making a selection. At least you have that. I'm going to watch him for a minute. I can see he's a gamey pigeon. I like his size a lot. He's a small bird, or a cock bird. He looks like a good racing pigeon. That's the size you want. You don't want these monsters trying to fly out these hard races. So size-wise, buoyancy is excellent on this bird. Balance is excellent. See, he's got a lot of good stuff. He's got a good back cover. Wing ratio, I would put it as good. And what I mean by wing ratio, I'm talking about a bird that you can see it almost in your mind. Look at his body length, look at the wing length, and then look at the other wing length. You know what the other wing length is going to be because of that wing length. And it looks to me like it's good. It's not superior, you know, coming on out just a little further. Sometimes you can look at a bird and just look where he comes back, how far back he comes on his tail. And he comes back like he should. It's not way back there further than it should be. With wonderful back cover on him. See how his feathers cover in the back? You always want that. I'm done fooling with him. I'll look up his other bird. Whether he's in the top 24 or not, I can't say right at this moment. I wouldn't think so. But he's a very nice pigeon. Very nice pigeon. It would be a great breeder or flyer for anybody. I'll go on to the next bird. Because we do this 80 times, we're going to be here all day. I mean 65 times. I'm just going to stare at him for a minute and pick out a bird that I think is a fantastic pigeon. Just looking at it. This bird up here is a high quality pigeon. The one that's up on the little roost. He doesn't like me picking him up. Oh, I love this pigeon. He has everything. Everything. I picked him up the other day. He is perfect in the body. Cork body, balsa wood, whatever you want to call it. And his pectoral muscles come out. They're fleshy. It meets the keel perfect. There's a wonderful feel and a balance there. You know that this bird could fly 7 or 8 hours and still have reserve muscle left to bring him on in. He has everything that you want in a pigeon. And he has a soft feather. I like his wings. Little flights are a little bit on the narrow side. I like that. Has a good contour in the wing. A slight step from the secondaries to the primaries. I love his eyes. He's got a light violet eye, almost a pearl, but it's a light violet. I have no idea who he's out of. This is 2049. I've looked him up before. In the hand, he's dead perfect. And he's actually almost a small cockbird. He may look a little big, but he's a small pigeon, which is exactly what you want to fly. And I think this bird also, because of the strength that he has in him, the kind of strength that he has in him, I think he's the kind of bird that can go through both quarantines and also take 30 or 35 training tosses. He has that sort of resiliency inside of him. I can sense that. I love this pigeon. I'm going to put him in a crate that he's probably going to be one of our top pigeons. And this is 2049. Buoyancy, excellent. Balance was excellent. Back cover was excellent. I looked at him. Body, feather, wing ratio. Wing ratio was good. Between good and excellent. I put an X right there in between them. Wing type, I put that in there. Eye position and alertness, I love that. Eye type, I love that. Intelligence. You know, a lot of times I'll move the X's way further on over. That tells me that it's super excellent or medium excellent or whatever. Quickness was excellent. Single tail. Slit throat. This is a great pigeon right here. I can tell you right now, this bird's going to Africa. This is a great pigeon. His throat's a little bit open. I would rate it. I would rate it good. And a head jerk. Not a strong head jerk there at all. No head jerking there at all. At best, I put it a poor good. I don't care about the head jerk and all that crap, all that stuff. This is a great pigeon. No two ways about it. We'll come over and look at him. He's ideally the kind of high quality, balanced racer that you need to have in Africa. It's a small cockbird, wonderful pigeon. Wonderful balance. Health in him is very obvious, just shining. He's very alert. And like I said, he handles like a dream. So that's one bird that's definitely going to go. We'll move on to another one. I don't even know who his parents are or anything else, but based on just physical qualities, hard bird to turn down. Even if it is a cock. There's a wonderful little hen up there on top, sitting there. I'm trying to find some other bird. Something strikes my eye. She strikes my eye as much as any of them. I guess one reason she strikes my eye is because she's so classic sions. It's kind of hard not to love some of the old sions that have that face. She has that sions. So right on the go, I can see she's got that. Ooh, I love this wing. That's my wing right there. She has an excellent superior wing, ratio-wise, much longer than any of the birds that I've picked up so far in comparison to her body. You take that wing and the other wing and pull them out and compare them to the size of her body, you'll see that she has a longer wing than her body. That's what I'm looking for. She's got a step in her wing. She's got that flesh tone. Flesh comes all out past the keel just like the other bird did, just the way I like it. It's good, even contour there. Her vent and her keel are very close together. She has a tight vent, but not welded together, a tight vent, but it's what anybody would consider. She's carrying a little bit of weight, so if she lost a little bit of that weight, her vent would come on down and be even tighter. She has also an excellent light colored eye, light violet eye, without getting into eye sign and going through all that, just in a general. Let's see who she is. This is 2080, so that means she was the 80th bird that I hatched out this year of the African birds. So she's probably more than likely a late January bird, just guessing, maybe February. Buoyancy, excellent. Balance, excellent. There's nothing, when I get to the wing ratio, I'm gonna put a circle on it. She has a tremendous wing. You get to the throat and the head. Excellent throat, slit throat, and I mean, you can see this bird. She's molting right now. Let's see. She's not jerking her head back like some of the people. I want to look at her again. I love her balance. She covered very well. This is the very first time, we're one of the first times in a long time these birds have been in a cage. It's very hot today. I've taken them out of their environment and stuff, and these are young birds still. So they're a little bit nervous, and they're gonna, they're stretching out a little bit. She's nervous. They're not used to being cooped up. They don't know what's going on. She's a sweetheart. Classic sions. That's a sions type right there. And he is too. He's a classic sions type. You'll see that, and generally speaking, in a lot of these birds, I want you to pan through here. They're not real showy at all. These are race birds. You'll see they're round-headed, a slight bit of the snipey face in a lot of them. These are racers. These are not show birds. And I'm not breeding for show birds. Show birds are not going to win South Africa. I want you to come over here and look at these two. I'm just trying to give everybody an idea of what this family of birds. And these birds are all pretty closely related to each other. You got to remember that. this whole group of 65 birds here, there's a lot of them here that are closely related. You'll see on one of the things that I got a lot of this year, I got a lot of round-headed pigeons. And I don't know, but I spent a lot of time going through a lot of magazines and looking at things online. And you'd be surprised at how many pigeons that were great champions were these types, just for type. And no matter what the family was, it's just that the fact that they look kind of like this. They had the round head and this kind of balance and this kind of look about them. And I thought that kind of odd. It just kind of struck me that even though these are sions, we'll catch this big old sion right here. I think I know this bird. I'm not supposed to know him. I don't to be objective in judging the bird. This may be it's 007. And I think he's out of 1692 and 35 or 33, and he is. This is a full blood. You see the white right there in his flights? When he catched out as a baby, he actually had like 2 or 3 white flights, and he molted those out. And now he's got white that came back in his place. Cause I wondered where he jumped. But he's one of my oldest birds that I got. He's 2000. He's a December hatch, and he's sitting on a nest in there. It's 2007. I love this bird. And he's out of one of my very best pairs. He's almost an automatic to go to South Africa. Buoyancy, his fence good, flesh is good, everything on this bird's good. So it's really tough not to take him. He's a little bit on the big side. That's his only. Let me write him down over here so I know who I'm talking about. But we're not going to have time to do all of them. This is 2007. Like I said, I know who his parents are. He looks big, but I swear he doesn't handle big. So excellent balance. Back cover on this bird is super excellent. That's one of the things on this family of birds. They have superior back cover. And I've noticed that a lot of the birds in South Africa, and he has a step from the secondary. I have superior back cover. You'll see very few birds that I've seen in South Africa flywheel over there are open in the back. And by back cover, I'm talking about these covered feathers back here, how they come back in the back. And these are feathers that help catch the air when they're flying back and forth and down. There's no air; it gets through the body, and makes less resistance, it's less difficult for him to cut through the air since he's able to not have any turbulence going through underneath of his wing and through his body. He's able to keep a nice, steady, even flight. There's less use of his body over a long period of time, less stress on his body, less calories being burned up, and more than likely is able to fly a longer way. So I know this bird already. I'm just going to put him almost straight until I get down to, I'm going to check. He's a little on the big side, a bit big. His cock. I think he's actually better than the bird that I sent over last year that finished 41st. He's a more put together bird. As far as the head jerking, that didn't help him. As far as the head jerking, yeah, he's doing that. Let's go ahead and take a picture of him. He's one of the birds that he's going to go to South Africa. These 3 birds right now, unless something really comes up fantastic, these birds all have a wonderful balance, but look at him. Easy boy. I mean, he's a big pigeon. That's the only thing he's got going against him. But he's not a heavy pigeon. And one of the things about the birds out of that pair in there, out of 33, what I call the Ocala hen and her mate, they have real strong bars almost every time. The 2 bars on the wing, they're almost big wide bars. They have a distinct look. Once you learn that family, because I raised like 10 of them out of that pair this year, and they're closely. They have a lot of closeness. Here's another bird. a nice hen. I like to try to stay with my hens if I possibly can. If you got a special cock, it's hard to deny them. Beautiful little hen. She's got the kind of wing that I like in a bird. Pretty going. She's a much later hatch, 66435. She's hatched in May. She hatched in May. Just looking at her off that band, I can tell you that from looking at the band. Beautiful wing. She's got a violet eye. She's not very old, you know. This is July. She's in May, June, July. She's just a little over about 2.5 months old. And for a 2.5-month-old pigeon, easy. She's a lot of bird. Everything on her is good. Her vents don't come, or not touching, you know, like some people might want. Although I just need them. Here. Easy, baby. She has a wonderful balance to her. Kill length is good. Kill length is excellent for her size. You know, she's a small hen, and yet she's got a nice kill. Not a long kill, not a deep kill, and definitely not a short kill. So she's balance, back cover, feather. She's got a little harder feather. Her wing ratio. It's good. Wing top. It's good. For eye position, when I'm looking for eye position, I'm looking for one that just lays perfectly in the head, not too much near the top of the skull, not too far in the back or front, just something that should be exactly like you think that it should be. And hers is. And I like to see that the bird can see all around itself very easily. She has a good eye. Is it raining?
Yeah, it's trying to.
Oh my God, thank heavens.
Are your windows open?
Yeah, I think they're down. I give her quickness. She was quick. Put her right there in the middle. Single tail, right there in the middle. Excellent throat. No, I don't see any head jerking in this pigeon. She's nice. I want to look at her one more time before I make a decision on her. She's a lot younger than the other birds. Got a nice balance to her. I know she's standing a little strong right now, but you know, she's just nervous. She's a real young 2-month-old pigeon, 2.5-month-old pigeon with all these birds in the spring place. So she's gonna. It's a lot to like about her. Well, I go over that body over and over and over. She's a little bit hard, not super. She's borderline. That's where she is. You put hers out here. We got so many to go through. And we're still going judging. As you know, we're going through almost 70 blue bars that were bred for South Africa, just to pick out the team. And I've come up on this hen, which is band number 2013, number 13, unlucky number. She happens to be a full sister to the bird that I sent the first year to Africa, named Summertime. And the comments I made about her, I don't like the way that she handles, even though she looks great. The hen has an excellent overall balance, but she feels odd in my hand. She's a bit heavy and not buoyant. There's something odd about the way her keel and vent matching her body, which I don't like. And she has but she does have a great eye and overall balance. And the main reason I'm going to pick this bird, which I already put a green band, she's definitely going to make the Africa team. One reason only, is because she's a full sister to Summertime, which was, in my opinion, the best bird that's flown for us thus far in Africa. She led the United States on about 4 or 5 times on the average speed when they were flying to 30, 35 tosses. And she was 5th in the world at one point on average speed. And she was doing fantastic, and then she dropped out one race, and then she worked her way back up and finished, I think she finished 88th in South Africa. But to me, she was the best bird that I've flown over there. And so here goes her sister back to Africa. Let's hope, I haven't given her a name yet, but get over there and win us the money. Are you ready?
Yep.
Well, here we go again. I've got another bird here that I'm in love with. This bird is 2064, and it's a full brother to the bird that finished first for me last year. Not first, didn't win, but my first bird back in South Africa, which finished 91st. He's out of 96 and 33. 33 is a blue hen that flew back from Florida as a young bird, 700 miles from Orlando. And 96 is a bird, we had 8 birds out of one pair 7 years ago, 8 years ago, that I trained all the way out to 500 miles with Gary Stone. Gary Stone was trucking birds in the Cincinnati Combine, and he would stop here and would holler birds. I let the birds loose about 6 different times, and 2 of those times were smashes. They went into fog in the trees, and the birds got, a lot of the birds from Cincinnati and Covington, that area, got lost or hurt. And but those eight birds, all 4 brothers and sisters out of one pair, all came home every time I let them loose, and got all 8 young birds to come home from 500 miles. I don't know of anybody else that's ever done that with one year with 8 babies out of the same pair, where you got all of them to fly 500 miles as young birds. To me, I thought it was fantastic. And I kept the very best cock out of those 8 birds, and that cock is the father of this pigeon. And that's 96, is the daddy of this bird. So he has fantastic blood on that side, and his mother flew 700 miles as a young bird. There's not many 700-mile young birds out there. So this bird's got tremendous long-distance blood, and everything on this bird is perfect. Everything. And it has a very wonderful eye. What I think a South African eye has a really light violet, almost pearl type eye, and soft feather, cork body, tight vents, not real tight, just you know, one of the things that I do when I handle these birds, you know, I'm handling 150 of them today, and I'm judging for, you know, which birds are going to be the top 30 birds, 24 birds. First thing I want to do, I want to feel that body. I want everything else to be just lay in my hand. You know, I don't want to feel a deep keel, short keel. I don't want to feel flesh that's not there. Just, you want that balance over and over and over. The more you handle birds, the more it starts to come to you. But it's a wonderful pigeon. Maybe the best one they bred this year. And definitely going to go there. It's 64. That's to be the bird over there. I done put the green band on him. To me, that's he's going. That's going to, that will stop for you. Go ahead. Well, you can see 64 up there. Here he comes. Calm down. Come here, big boy. That's 64 right there. He's one of my very favorite birds that we've selected today for South Africa. Fantastic pigeon. And that's his brother, full brother, right up above him there. Both of them is definitely going to go to South Africa. Wonderful pigeons. Wonderful. That's good on there. Here we go again. Got another pigeon I absolutely love. It's a cock. He's the daddy's a full brother to Summertime. There's how I rated him. Superior, as high as you could, all the way down the line. He was hatched February 19th. Band number of this bird is 2091. He hatched in February 19th. Absolutely dead perfect to flying after. It has a beautiful light violet eye that's very busy. And I don't know what you can say negative about him. He has perfect body, perfect dance, perfect feather, wonderful balance. I'm gonna put the Africa band on him. We'll put him over here. He's not, you know, Summertime, out of Summertime's parents, but he's that blood. And I might have improved on it. I put his brother, Summertime's brother, with a hen that flew 600 miles as a young bird. It's been a proven good breeder. Come over and let him see what they look like. I'm starting to move some of the Sirius Africa candidates right here. Come over here, big boy. He's not a big pigeon at all. He's medium size. But look at the balance on this bird. Okay, covers in the back. Come here. Come on, sit up for him. See how he covers in the back and what kind of balance. He's got nothing out of proportion. He's not leggy. He's not necky. He's not what you call long cast. He's got just almost a beautiful balance to him. And he has a beautiful symmetry to his head, eye, all that. You know, all that goes into what balance is about. Plus the body itself, when you handle it, is perfectly balanced. So that's what you're looking for. This is ideally what you're looking for in a great racing pigeon. This is the kind of bird that can fly, can take the harsh treatment that they'll have to go through. He can, you know, 40 training tosses if you have to, and still wind up doing well at the last race. Yeah, he's one of the better ones in there for sure. And we'll keep going. Late hatches. I know she was shutting her eyes over a while ago. 21, 27. I might call her Sleepy Joe. I don't know if she's a Democrat or a Republican, but I'm just joking around. She's a wonderful pigeon, and I will look her up. She did kind of shut one eye like that a little bit. I haven't made up my mind about her. Becoming obvious to me that I've got more cocks than I do hens. Did you shoot down in here? This gives you a very good idea of what I've bred for this year for South Africa. You can see there's a basic uniform type there. Let's pick up another bird. You won't cut it off. Bird here that's going to make the Africa team. This is band number 2159. There's how I've rated her. Absolutely superior in every way. Gorgeous pigeon. I wanted you to see her eye. She has an unusual eye. What I call a pearl eye, or extremely light violet eye. It's not really a pearl, it's a light violet. There's nothing wrong with this bird. She's at a 1692 and 35, which is my very best blood. And she's on the team. There's no two ways about it. Another good hen. I like having good hens to send. So we're going to put her on. She's Africa bound. Whenever we can get through this virus. I'm very proud of this pigeon. Just sit over here and watch her as I put her in here.